Hello students, let us talk about on reading in relation to literature by Lafcadio Hearn. The author talks about the meaning of reading, its process and its aim. And the author says that we need to read attentively. We don't need to read mechanically. Now, no doubt you will think that this statement of the case confuse reading with study. You might say when we read a history or philosophy or a science book, then we read very thoroughly, studying all the meaning and bearing of the text slowly and thinking about it. This is a differentiation by the readers that when we say that when we are reading science book or history book or philosophy book, we are very seriously reading it, paying attention to every information given there. And what we say, this is hard study. But when we read a story or a poem out of class hour, we read for amusement. And when we read a story or poem, we read for amusement only. Amusement and study are two different things. I'm not sure that you think this, but young men generally do so think. Young readers, they differentiate between reading and amusement. But the author is saying no, everything worth reading should be read attentively. Amusement and study are two different things. I'm not sure that you all think this, but young men generally do so think. As a matter of fact, every book worth reading ought to be read in precisely the same way that a scientific book is read, not simply for amusement. Whatever book you read, don't read for only entertainment. Read it very carefully, attentively. And every book worth reading should have the same amount of value in it that a scientific book has. And if you are reading a book, try to check whether this book has any value for you or not. Though the value may be of a totally different kind. Okay? That in one book you find a particular value, in the other book you find a particular value. For after all, the good book of fiction or romance or poetry is a scientific work. Any book which is written in scientific manner. How? But especially according to the principles of the great science of the life, the knowledge of human nature. So whatever book you read, it is written by the writer keeping in the mind the nature, the human nature, the knowledge of human nature. So every book you read very attentively. The first thing which a scholar should bear in mind is that a book ought not to be read for mere amusement. Very important. Never read a book for only entertainment and amusement or killing your time. Half-educated persons read for amusement and are not to be blamed for it. Means those who are not properly literate, they read for amusement. They are incapable of appreciating the deeper qualities that belong to a really great literature. But a young man who has passed through a course of university training should discipline himself at an early day never to read for mere amusement. So this is an advice by the writer that those who are getting proper educations in the schools and colleges, they must train themselves. They must make a habit that they are never going to read for only amusement. He will then impatiently throw down any book from which he cannot obtain intellectual food, any book which does not make an appeal to the higher emotions and to his intellect. So this trained student will never read any book for just killing the time. He will try to get something out of that. And if the book is not providing that stuff to him, he will throw the book. But on the other hand, the habit of reading for amusement becomes with thousands of people exactly the same kind of habit as wine drinking or opium smoking. But this habit of reading mechanically is like an addiction. Once you are addicted, you can't leave it. Giving up is very, very difficult. It is like a narcotic, a drug, something that helps to pass the time, something that keeps up a perpetual condition of dreaming, something that eventually results in destroying all capacity for thought. Like a drug is killing all the ability of human mind, this habit of reading mechanically also kills all the abilities of the human mind. Giving exercise only to the surface part of the mind and leaving the deeper springs of feeling and higher faculties of perception unemployed. So if you read in this manner, that you are reading mechanically, never paying attention to the deeper meaning, never trying to analyze anything, and you are not able to express your own views on that reading, it means you are not reading attentively and you need a training. Otherwise, it will destroy all the capabilities of your mind.